Welcome to TiffDoesLoans podcast. So today I have Connor Gordon. How are you?
Doing good, Tiffany. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. So Connor is with Coldwell Newport. So super excited to hear about that and what's going to be going on. And yeah, we've met through a mutual friend, and we have, done a couple of events together and just been building this relationship. So I wanted to bring him in and go over the OC. Are you also kind of like in LA and inland, or the Inland Empire now? Or mainly just still in OC?
Yeah, I try to just stay here in Orange County, the 405 traffic.
I know, but I feel like we've all been, I've been doing open houses over there. Sometimes you got to make the drive.
You just got to get the fast track.
Yeah, 100%, yeah. So why don't you just start by, what is your journey look like, and just kind of like how you got into real estate, how that started for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been around real estate my whole life. My grandfather owned his own brokerage. So
nice. Back
in my early years, I would go out and stay with them in Kansas, small town Kansas, you can picture it. And I was there every summer and kind of just watching what he did day to day, going to the office with him. And mind you, this was super small rural town, so you only had a handful of brokers there.
Like everybody used him.
Yeah,
like he was like the realtor.
He was the face of Norton, Kansas. So
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of early exposure to the real estate business, and then once I got to college, I kind of had at the forefront of my mind that real estate was the direction I was going to go. But I had a huge change of circumstances because I was living in Texas at the time. And then my son was born out here in Orange County. So I had a life pivot, moved out here, and now I'm kind of reconsidering, like, do I still want to go this direction with real estate? And I happen to have another family member that actually lives here in Newport that's been a broker for 50 years. So I was talking to him, and he kind of, shared his experiences with me and how he got to where he was at in SoCal with real estate, because he's from Kansas as well. And
expanded. Does he still have like one in Kansas, or like he started there and then...
No, he actually moved.
But then if you have Newport, it's like
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, he's only done real estate out here in California. We weren't very close though prior to me moving out here. So I just kind of discovered all this information about him once I ended up here, and he was very adamant that real estate in Southern California is the place to do it.
The way to go.
But I was a little scared.
And you're still with him, yes? So you guys worked together for a little bit?
Interestingly enough, his business is primarily based out of the Valley. So he's back and forth from Ventura County and Newport Beach.
Oh.
He lives over there in Big Canyon.
Okay.
And so he's got a property management / real estate brokerage up there in Porter Ranch.
Okay.
But he's the one that kind of pointed me in the right direction, and then that's where I
got you going out here. Okay, awesome. So what is did you ever start any in Kansas, or
no?
So pretty much it started like once you got here and then started building. So now, seeing what type of market we're in, how are you kind of guiding your clients, LA, Orange County area, having them be prepared in this market?
Yeah, that's a great question. So all the markets are subjective, of course, to what area in particular you're in. So right now, for example, with, my buyers, I'm like, if you have an urgent need, whether to upsize, downsize, first-time home buyer, there's no need to wait because right now there's a lot of opportunity. It's really just all about having the data. So I'm big on the analytics and numbers, and I'm always checking price reductions, what listings started at price-wise and what they closed at. And I take all that information. So if the buyer's buying in for example, in Eastside Costa Mesa, I want to know everything that recently sold and what the original price was and if they had any price cuts and what they ended up closing at. So for the buyer, we can go in there and already know at the top of our head what we have to negotiate or wiggle room, because people just see the sticker price and they're like, oh yeah, the prices are still too high.
Yeah.
You know?
But I feel like, but it really helps too to have somebody like you, because to be more on the numbers or more analytical, like you said, it's like, because my mind wouldn't always go there either. And a lot of our buyers too, they're more worried about open concept in their kitchen. Like they're not really, like a photo that they saw online, but it helps have a realtor that will kind of look at the whole area and no, this is what it's going to go for. They might be looking at different, more superficial things, and then you come in with the numbers, this area is going to be better for you, right? Kind of put them in what's more beneficial for them.
Yeah, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head there. And then I think it helps too to have been in the property prior to even showing it to your client, if you're able to do so. So a lot of it too can be someone does a cheap flip and then they want to price it sky high, but then you walk through the property and you kind of get that feeling that it's more like Home Depot quality, and they maybe put in $150,000 and they bought it 6 months ago and now they want to sell it for $600,000 more than they bought.
100%. Okay. So you definitely are doing more research for them, looking at when it sold before, what the area is, what all the other ones are selling for. I mean, which is really good. As any buyer, you would want to work with somebody like that that's going to do that data research for you, because that is happening a lot. And I do work with a lot of investors that do the fix and flips. So I guess I haven't really thought of it from a standpoint of kind of what you're saying too. You kind of go over, you can let them know hey, it's just been remodeled in the last 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. So it's,
and what materials? Is that what you mean by Home Depot?
Yeah, so you can tell this is super cheap cabinets. This is just a generic engineered hardwood flooring, or whatever the case may be. If you have experience in that lane, it's very easy to spot cheap product. So whether it's the shower, the bathtub, cabinets, sinks, flooring, et cetera, it's pretty easy to identify that on the spot. And then what I do, like I said, I go back and see what it's sold for, and then what they're now asking. And of course, this is only relative to the most recent flips, because that kind of throws off the data a little bit in a neighborhood where another sale on the same street has not been updated.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, the updates, most of the updates too were, I feel it's actually, they're doing less now, because most of the time the new upgrades are breaking out a wall, open concept. You're not putting more in, you're actually taking away less. So I feel taking away more, or kind of clearing it out. Less is better nowadays, which I mean, I agree with. Some of these flips look really good once you more of the open concept. But that is another thing that I kind of want to jump in there. Do you feel, because you are more of a numbers guy and looking at the market, and because you looked over so many different properties, Would you say that now is a buyer's market or a seller's market?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question
Yeah.
right now. I get asked that several times a day at this point. Again, it's all subjective to what market you're in. So, generally speaking of Orange County as a whole, over the past few months, it's been more neutralized, I would say, with, the recent Fed cuts that were now more on the buyer side, but it's not all the way over.
Yeah.
It's just maybe moved a couple more inches.
A little bit,
on the buyer side.
I can see that, because we're definitely, I feel like we've been more in a buyer's market just because, like, every loan that I'm doing now or purchase, we are getting seller credits, negotiations, all this good stuff. So I do feel like we're still there too, but that's going to soon, with more cuts, that's going to go away.
Yeah, no, you're so right. And I think, too, like, if you're representing a buyer, one of the most important things you can do before making an offer is really doing your homework and figuring out where the seller stands. So if they have, like a life-changing event or very particular scenario where they have to get the deal done, you have a little more leverage to negotiate and, ask for those seller credits or repairs. So you want to go in there and kind of talk to the other side and extract as much information as possible to then help with your side of the negotiations.
But we can't always get that information. But
No.
Are you saying you as a realtor to, like, try to, have those conversations, try to, like, get a little more about the seller? Because, like, I feel like some realtors give up information, but, like, a lot, they gatekeep it. Like, they're not going to trickle all that information to you.
Yeah,
unless you know how to, unless you have, like, how to get it. Or, like, just, like, sweet talk them a little bit or something.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, it's all just, like, case-by-case scenario. But if I know, like, my buyer's super serious and they have all their ducks lined up in a row, I'll let the other party know, like, we're here to do business. This is where we're at.
Exactly.
We don't want to go back and forth. So I'm not sure what the situation is with you guys, but let's just say it's listed at, $3 million and my buyer won't go a lick over $2.8 million.
Yeah.
I will let them know that, we're not going to go back and forth on this. They're at 2.8, and if that's something you guys won't even consider, just let me know right now. Then we can save you guys time, save us time, and it doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah.
But I think that transparency gets you further in this business than
100%.
just trying to, beat around the bush and
Be direct.
Mm-hmm.
Be direct.
Yeah, be direct.
I like it. I'm just big. Just say it. Like, of course, too, a listing agent, they can't always, they have to present the offers. But at the same time, it's like if they already know exactly that they are standing firm, just like your client, I feel like, a lot of back and forth can just be like demolished. Like it doesn't have to be a thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can get into
Like,
crazy
weed it out.
situations. Like the most recent sale I did in Newport Coast, it was a condo in Trevari, and the seller started at like right around 155, and we had so much back and forth, texting, phone calls, only to find out at the end that, because my client didn't want to pay much more over 1.4,
Yeah.
and kind of the numbers supported where we were at, and the seller was just adamant that she was going to get over 1.5 and had all these other offers and people at full ask. And then ultimately, after weeks of going back and forth, only to find out that she was good with our price at 1.42. And I'm like, we could have saved ourselves weeks and already been almost closed by now if you had just been like real with us from the get-go. So
did they not have any of the offers then for like the 1.5?
So she had one offer that actually was at 1.5, but I found out through the grapevine that this buyer had gone around and made a few offers and then canceled. So it wasn't a strong buyer. So it just
wasn't, yeah.
So yeah, you just want to have
they were trying to hang on. So it seems like, yeah, they were beating around the bush to try to hang on to that 1.5.
Yeah,
but then they weren't chosen. And then they were like, okay, I'll take the 1.4 too.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, yeah. It's just like, what a roller coaster. And it's just, but then your client got it, right?
Yeah, we got it at 1.42 and ended up
Did you throw on some extra seller credits? Now they get it at 1.41. Like, I feel like that's when my realtor, like when they come back, then that's when the real negotiations kind of start.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when you're, like dating a girl, let's say, and then she throws you to the side and goes somewhere else, and then she comes back.
Exactly.
She's like, now I'm ready to negotiate. And you're like no. It's too late now.
No, yeah. Now do this. I know. And then, okay, then we can go back.
Yeah.
But like that's what it sounds like to me. I always think of that, like when these scenarios get to that point in the process where you're like, okay, everybody, like this is starting to feel too much like a dating pool, or like what is going on. Let's just all communicate. Like there's no communication. Everyone's just like trying to hold on to, these things that don't exist. So, yeah, I feel like those are, real estate, it's never dull.
No, never a dull moment.
It's never a dull moment. And, okay, so like right now with our buyers, I have been seeing a lot of like seller credits. I have done more in LA, I think recently, more LA, Ventura, so in that area, or the IE. Are you still seeing, and is that possible to get negotiations and seller credits right now in Newport?
Yeah, it's definitely possible, especially in Newport. Actually, we have seen a tremendous amount of price reductions. Almost 30-ish% of the homes in have Newport had price reductions of 10% and higher. So like my whole, I don't want to necessarily call it a red flag, but once you see a price reduction, you know that there's definitely some more wiggle room on the negotiation side. So whether it's trying to get a even lower price, or working something out where you might not be getting a lower price off the list, but you're getting
some seller credits.
That's
what I tell them. I tell my people, like, go look. Like, if it's been sitting there for 45 days and they have a price cut,
exactly,
like, we're gonna go in at that price, or maybe like a little below, depending on how much they cut it. Like if they cut it $30,000, like let's just keep it there at where they want and then get that $30,000. Newport, you would need that much. Like most places, you'll probably only get like 10,000. Usually it's like 10, 15,000. We just did one in Texas, and it was sitting for 45 days, and he actually told me there were 3 more on the block, and they just did a 10,000 price cut. So I was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And we put a game plan together, and it worked. And we got the $15,000. So we ended up like buying his rate down to the floor. So he was cash flowing because it was an investment. But I feel like that strategy, like especially now, like in Newport, it is possible. And though you do need more seller credits to like make a dent, obviously, they're bigger prices, but that's why I still feel like it's possible.
No, definitely. Yeah. Like I said earlier in this, the main thing is knowing all of the data, all the price cuts, and gathering as much information as possible so you can go into that negotiation and be standing on a strong foundation. Because if you can present those numbers to the other party and break it down concisely, you have a much greater chance of them then going to their client and being like, hey, for XYZ reason, this offer actually does kind of make sense.
100%. And that, yeah, you like line it up for them. Basically give them, there's no reason to say no.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then, okay, so what, do you work with a lot of listing right now or mainly?
Yeah, it's pretty even as far as listings and buyers. Like right now I'm working on a couple listings in Covenant Hills and then another one in Newport. But I always have a handful of buyers at any given moment. I just kind of categorize them on a ranking tier of 1 to 5.
Like when they'll be ready.
When they'll be ready and like how serious they are or what the urgency is. So a lot of people, for example, that are buyers of mine in like the Newport market, this is like a secondary or
vacation,
third home.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's not like a super serious person. And
it's all investor. Is it more investor or like families that get vacation homes, do you think?
For me, it's been more family getting vacation homes. Like I'm from Dallas, Texas, and I've worked with a handful of just people I know from back home that have purchased in Newport just to have a place to come out in the summer. And then they rent it out short term throughout the year. Some of them just don't even rent it out and just let it sit there. And
that's so wild. But I guess, yeah, if they're living like Texas, it's super affordable. So you can have like get another home over here. It's almost like backwards to me in my brain sometimes when we're like other states are buying in California. But I forget, like, they also, it's the weather, but.
Yeah, it's the weather. And then, as most people are aware, I mean, real estate, especially in a market like Newport, is one of the strongest asset classes. I mean, it's always going up. So the
equity, it's just the highest appreciation. You can't.
The highest appreciation, like, hands down. I mean, maybe there's a couple markets in like Manhattan, New York that are comparable, but overall, if you have the money for it, like
just put it in,
yeah,
and then keep it forever.
Do not,
yeah, because I imagine like a lot of those houses have been generational, and I mean we talked to some neighbors. I think it might have been Huntington, but yeah, they got it for like $200,000, and now it's like in the millions.
I know, crazy.
Exactly. Or their family did. Their family got it. Yeah, if you can be the one to purchase the beach house in your family and then generations to come, it's definitely gonna, that market's never gonna fail, I feel like. And so right now we still have the higher rates, so we're hoping that they move down a bit, but higher rates and low inventory, which we're still seeing in Orange County. What is your advice to your buyers?
Yeah, so if you're a buyer that's going to be doing a traditional loan, like we're still over a little over 6% rate, and we're still at the top of the market as far as what people are asking on the list side. So right now as a buyer, the best strategy I would say is to really make sure your agent knows those numbers. And like I said, just because you see the sticker price on it, more than likely, unless they really price that to sell, which most people don't, there is negotiation room. So with, the facts that you mentioned, like lower inventory, rates are still high, prices are still high. I mean, all those things would lead one to believe like, hey, if you're a buyer right now, you shouldn't do it. But if you are ready and you have everything lined up and the money for the down payment, like, it will always work itself out in the end, and there's still a lot of room to make deals happen that are favorable for your buyers. So all the headlines you see in like the news articles or on social media. Exactly.
Like, now is the time. I tell them the same thing. Like, if you can afford it, obviously if you can't afford it, but if you have your budget in place and you can make it happen, now is the time, because you're going to get a better deal now than when everybody comes out all together.
No, 100%. Like, just like a year or two ago, people were like, don't buy anything in the stock market, it's going to crash. And like
And it didn't.
all three major indexes this year are up like anywhere from 15% to 21%. So it doesn't matter the cyclical nature at the end of the day, because if you're playing the long game, it's always going to be up in the end.
Yeah. That's a good point too. Like, real estate is the long game. Like, you have to change your mindset too. Like, you're doing this for generational and to, build wealth in the long haul.
Yeah.
So that definitely changes some of our buyers, perspective, because I always try to get them to change their mind. Like, what if you're doing like a big goal, like it's like training. You have to do all this training first. You got to sacrifice. You have to, it's a part of it. And you're doing it for the long haul for, even the people behind you, for your kids or, whatnot, or if you're building a business or, whoever you're building for. But yeah, I feel like it's especially now is that mindset that they need. Just a little adjusting.
Yeah, and like the last thing I'll add to that is it's also circumstantial too. So like, you want to know like, did these buyers plan to be here just for 2-3 years? They just got maybe they're newlyweds, but then they're planning to start a family soon. Like, maybe in that instance, it's like, hey, you'd be better off just renting for maybe 2 more years and then actually buying the home that you truly desire for, the eventual family you're maybe planning to start. But anything that's more long-term focused, I don't think there's ever a reason to wait and stay on the sidelines.
100%. And it does get a little tricky because with that, because a lot of people kind of, it's good. They gained a lot of appreciation or like equity in their homes. But in 2020, I feel like a lot of people were pitched, hey, you live in the house for like 2 years and then you can refi and then you like go get your dream house. But 2020, the rates were so low. And now like a lot of people are kind of, they're stuck in them. At least they're building equity, but that's why the inventory is a lot like they can't, that was their mindset of like, hey, we're going to move in 2 years, but now it's like 5 years later and they have not expanded yet.
No.
So, yeah. So it's like now I feel like some realtors are, changing the pitch because that's, usually the way to do it. But now, I see them adjusting with the market, which is good. And then let's do, what is your advice to your sellers? Like end of the year, I feel like winter season still on the listing side is really good, like for the winter.
Yeah, no, for the sellers in this particular time of the year, the good news is you're usually dealing with more serious people overall. There's not a lot of people that are window shopping around this time on the buyer side. So if you were to go, into a listing right now, a lot of people are like, oh, I should wait till the spring or summer. But actually right now is kind of I would say like a strategic time to list as a seller, because one, you have way less competition on the listing side. That is, there's usually fewer options, and then there's still a bunch of buyers, and those buyers are also typically pretty serious if they're looking for something this time of the year. So my advice to the sellers is, one, make sure you get the price right, because when you overestimate your starting number and that home just sits there for 30-60 days and then you do a price reduction, you're so far behind in that race. Like you're gonna need some serious horsepower to catch up.
Wow.
And it's usually something that you can't come back from. So the listing price is so
Key.
important.
Okay. And especially in this winter market is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because it may even sit a little longer. So if you don't list it the right way, it's really going to hurt your chances in the new year.
Yeah, like the listing I have right now, I mean, I had to have that very uncomfortable conversation up front.
Yeah.
That a lot of people would wait until they've already gotten the listing to have. Because for me, I already know the writing will be on the wall. If like this listing is 3.2 and they wanted to start at 3.4 based off some comps on their street, but the problem is those comps had a much different design style, and this one is, for lack of a better description, not as appealing. And I'm like, we need to do 3.2 for the list price, and we had to go back and forth on it. But a lot of people would just be like, oh, they want to go for 3.4 because the other homes that sold on that street were around 3.4, let's do it. And then next thing you know,
it's dropped.
It's sitting there, days on market keep accumulating. Then you have to ask for that price reduction that you could have just discussed before even going on the market. So you're kind of killing two birds with one stone, because that's half the battle. A lot of the sellers
100%.
are just very anal when it comes to their perception of what the home's worth, because it's more sentimental to them, and they feel like, oh, well, Zillow's estimate said this number, or that home on the corner, Mr. Smith's house sold for this price. But it's like, there's a lot more that goes into the pricing strategy than people really realize. I mean, there's multiple factors.
Yeah. But it's good to know, and it takes a strong realtor that you have to be able to have these difficult conversations, because you are going to save them less headaches later. And you are going to get them the best deal. Slashing, a lot of realtors won't have those conversations.
No.
And no, I agree with you that it definitely, and it matters for the whole market, really, that everybody is having these difficult conversations up front, because it causes a ripple effect. Now there's a bunch that are being overlisted because, overpriced, because they are letting the seller's emotions kind of drive the pricing. You know what I mean? So it definitely holds, it's the whole market. It's happening, it's like, and then when you guys come in, you're like, no, it needs to be here. And then it's kind of like, well, but I just feel like we kind of got, especially with Zillow and everything, now their emotions are higher. So I feel like that's actually a new, I guess, because of all the social media and all the apps that there are now, it's definitely a higher problem. Now we're starting to see it as just like a, you know what I mean? Now we do have to look out for that. The whole market is just kind of overpriced because of so many people seeing and voicing those opinions. No, I think it will go for, this amount, but in reality, and the reasons that what you're pointing out to them, it's it's still going to be here. It just kind of looks like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that a lot of people often are just, quite frankly, too scared to have that conversation, and they'd rather appease the seller to ensure that they get the listing opportunity.
Yeah, but you can still get fired, right?
Yeah, exactly. I would rather be direct.
I would rather do it in the front. And I've had to have those difficult conversations, too, in the front. Look, this is going to be hard. Because it's a lot harder when things start popping up in the middle. And now you have to start doing, each call is, a daunting, it's the worst. When you have to keep doing those calls in the middle of the process. So I do try my best to set those expectations, but in the beginning. And it's a hard conversation, and they could leave you, but still, I feel like people can feel the confidence, from you, or like, okay, you're right. Like, it's going to be more of a, like, look, I'm putting this all up front. I know you might not pick me, but it's still better than it popping up. Like, I feel like they'll appreciate it. Like, until you start, it's the middle of process, and now all this stuff is popping up, which is the hard loan, or the hard deals, or hard processes, really. And then just kind of wrap up here. What is, the end of this year look for you, kind of, going into next year for Connor?
Yeah, no, so I hope to end this year and have this listing down in Ladera closed. Just hit the market 2 weeks ago at 3.2. And then heading into next year, I anticipate a pretty big jump as far as the amount of buyers that are going to jump into the marketplace. So for myself personally, I just want to make sure that I prepare myself and have the right systems in place, and have everything kind of lined up going into 2026. So when that time does come, I'm ready to capitalize. And for me, a huge focus of mine going into next year is to hone in more on the online presence and social media as well.
Awesome. Amazing. Thank you so much for
Thanks,
coming.
Tiffany.
I'm going to have all of Connor's stuff below. Feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And thank you.
Thank you, guys.